Okay, hello, happy Friday. Sorry I'm not here with you today. I'm going to try to make this video as quick as possible. This is what we would have done together in class today. So we'll get started. I warmed up with the other digital class with this image here. If you don't care about what it is, that's okay. You're not gonna hurt my feelings. It's just an old video game. It's called Bug Them. My dad's my grandpa had it. It's a PC game. One day in class, I will probably end up showing you some videos from it just for fun. That was the warm up to get us going, get us thinking. On the agenda today, before I start, the Lego of the day yesterday was, what was her name? Centaur Warrior. Today, Friday, is the corn cob guy. Ask me on Tuesday and I will show you a picture of the corn cob guy. But for today, we are going to continue forward with that digital design basics that we started together. So you will want to pull out your note sheet. Hopefully you still have it in your desk drawer. For my weird third period class, please grab it out of the cabinet you had it in. If it was in a wrong location, I have moved it to the right location, okay? So go ahead and grab out that digital design basics note sheet. We're going to finish that today. Don't forget that the syllabus signature is due today at 11:59. That is just that 5-question quiz over the syllabus. So if we go down to our syllabus folder here, here's the syllabus, here's that quiz. Question 1 and 2 is just saying, hey, did you read it? Did your parent or guardian read it? And then 3 questions are actually over the syllabus, and you can have the syllabus up while you answer those questions, okay? That is due today, Friday the 12th at 11:59. Okay. You will also take a short quiz today over the digital design basics. I will show you exactly where that's at after we finish going over the rest of the PowerPoint here, okay? Last class together, we kind of finished up saving our character from the web. If you didn't quite get there, make sure you save an image, okay? Right-click on that image from Google and hit Save Image As. Make sure the save type is a JPEG or PNG, not a web file, not a SVC. Needs to be a JPEG or PNG, okay? And then again, remember to check that path. It's going into the OneDrive, to your digital folder, and then if you've made other folders, into that folder. We checked image quality together. We talked about resolution. Remember that 72 and 96 are really low. For DPI, you want 300. 150 is okay. 300 is gold star. Okay, this is where we kind of landed together. You needed to upload that image to Schoology. If you have not done that, please get it done. Okay, I looked and some of you are still missing that. So if we go to our unit folder right now, we are talking about digital design basics. This is the Schoology character upload practice. And then over here, it will say submit assignment for you. I am missing, let's see, from each period. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You see your name here, that means you have not submitted. 6, 7 of you have not submitted. So make sure you get that in today as well, okay? That is worth points, so don't ignore it. If you need help submitting, this is showing you exactly how to do it. You hit that submit assignment button, this little grayed out file. Find it in your OneDrive folder, should be in your digital design folder, and then submit it once it uploads. Also, a friendly reminder to log off. Please don't shut down your computer. You can hit Control, Alt, Delete, and then log off. Or you can click the Windows button in the bottom left-hand corner, click on your name, and hit Sign Out. Okay, don't completely shut it down unless I tell you to do that. At the beginning of class, we would have talked about this together. I want you to recall which of these is the File Explorer, and then I had everybody come up and draw a smiley face on it. And boom, it is this yellow manila folder. This is your File Explorer, right? It looks like a file. I also asked if anybody knew what these two were. Take a moment. This guy, hopefully you know, is the Schoology logo. And then this blue cloud here is the OneDrive symbol. Other thing I asked students to recall from day one was which of these is the definition of resolution. So resolution was a vocab term we talked about. I'll give you seconds to read over it. If you need to pause, you can pause. All right, resolution is the image quality, right? I will say resolution a lot. It's the image quality. I also asked if anybody knew these other two definitions. This top one up here, the physical tools, machinery, equipment, like your desktop, printer, that is the hardware. Hardware is the physical tool. This last one down here, the text string that defines the location of a file or folder is the path, okay? The path. Okay. Today we are learning about Adobe. Woo, very exciting. That is the main program we use in this class. Hopefully everyone is logged on here. If you forget how to log on, here is that email address at students.avon-schools.org. Write it in your agenda or somewhere that you look every day. Put it in the notes on your phone. Okay. The three different programs, apps that we will be using are up here. This is also on that note sheet, so get ready to fill that out. And then we also have some vocab words here. The Adobe Creative Cloud is this nice little rainbow app that I show you up at the top. This is where all of the apps are located that we have access to. We will only be using these three in this course, but you do have access to all of them. We can open these straight from here, or you can just search it. So if you come down here into this little search bar, you can see I've already looked it up today. You can type in Adobe Creative Cloud, and it will start to pop up here. And if you click on it, it will open up something like this. And mine's gonna load nice and slow, like it always does. I ask that you be super patient in this room. I know that things are slow, programs are slow. Okay, so we usually open up to something like this, and it will show you some of the apps, your most recently used ones. Photoshop and Illustrator should be listed here. Okay, they should be listed here. You do not always have to go down to this little search bar and type in Adobe Creative Cloud. When we get going, you can type in Photoshop and just directly open Photoshop or Illustrator, okay? But it is important to know how to access the Adobe Creative Cloud. This is just our subscription service that gives us access to those apps, okay? To design and edit. Software, so we talked about hardware, right? That's the printer, desktop, any physical tool and machine. Software is the program, okay? It is a set of instructions that the computer is using to execute a specific task. It's telling the computer how to function. On your note sheet, you have these three images. This first one here is for Adobe Express. That is the app logo. Become familiar with it. Middle one here is for Photoshop. It's blue. That is also on your note sheet if you want to write that down. And then the last one over here is Adobe Illustrator, the last one on your note sheet, if you would like to write that down. You're going to need to know what these look like and be very familiar with them. A brief overview of each of them, and then I'm going to play a brief video. That way it gives you a better idea of what they are and what you can do. Adobe Express is very user-friendly. You can create lots of things on it, different graphics for social media, posters, what have you. You can also make videos, web pages. There's lots of different things you can do on there. They have templates. It's similar to Canva if you have ever used Canva. Okay. Photoshop. Photo is a big giveaway here for what it does. It is good for manipulating photos. Designers and artists use it to mostly do image editing, a little bit of retouching, maybe collage. So any meme you see on the internet is probably made with something similar to Photoshop. If not Photoshop, they're kind of collaging images together. You'll see what I mean later on too with that video. So Photoshop is for photos. Illustrator, kind of similar to the word illustration, right, is making graphics. It's kind of like painting or drawing. So designers or artists can use this software to create an image online versus actually doing it in the physical form, like painting or drawing. Super fun, okay? So Adobe Express, like Canva, Photoshop for photo editing, Illustrator for drawing, and making our own graphics. A quick video for Adobe Express here. This one is more artsy than the one I will show you for Photoshop and Illustrator. Those two tell you a little bit more about the program, where this one's kind of showing you what it can do. A lot of what it plays on here is AI. We won't use a lot of AI for Adobe Express, but still showing you templates and whatnot. Okay. That's Adobe Express. Pretty fun little video there. Next up, we have Photoshop. This is me kind of showing you what Photoshop looks like. This is just a funny play on Photoshop. If you've ever seen The Amazing World of Gumball, they call it Sotofop instead of Photoshop. So I will go ahead and play that video here for you. I'm gonna drag it in. We have an ad, it looks like. How convenient. And skip.
What is Photoshop? You've probably heard of Photoshop before. Everyone, from designers and meme makers, use it every single day. But do you know what it does? Since it first rolled out, Photoshop has become one of the first names in photo editing and digital creation. Photographers, students, and artists of all types keep honing their creative skills in Photoshop layers till this day. But how can so many types of people use Photoshop so effectively? It really just comes down to how versatile it is. You can do just about anything with the program, from creating awesome posters and paintings to touching up your vacation pics and making funny photo mashups. Photoshop uses and makes the file type PSD. This file saves your image with support for imaging functions. Basically, your mask and layers will all be there when you go back to the PSD. It's useful in case you want to make changes later, but you can always just save it as a regular old JPEG or PNG file. or another file type you need for sharing online. It's really easy to find resources that can make your Photoshop experience smoother. Pre-made Photoshop brushes, actions, and templates are all great ways to express your creativity. All of these premium assets are available from Envato Elements. That means you're going to get a high-quality piece for your Photoshop projects every time you use your Element subscription. Do you want to learn more about Photoshop?
Okay. We're not getting an Element subscription, but everything else is pretty relevant there. Last one here too is Illustrator. This video is a little bit more outdated, but it does a good job still at explaining the use of Illustrator and showing you some artwork.
Drawing application. Part of Adobe's design point line uses vector curves and shapes to build and design objects, from simple icons to logos, maps, and more complex illustrations, going from your activities on paper to a finished digital work of art. The advantage of these vector graphics is that they can be edited without limitation or loss of quality. The drawing tools allow you to easily create and edit shapes, add patterns, or special effects. And if you're already familiar with other Adobe products, you'll recognize the intuitive user interface. Illustrator is creativity at its best, offering you a range of typography options and color themes to suit your creative needs. Output your graphics for the web, video, or print. Alternatively, you can import your designs into other programs like Adobe Photoshop or Adobe InDesign. Discover the potential of Adobe Illustrator through our 1 or 2 day courses.
Okay. So just a quick overview of all of them, elaborating on what I already said. Quickly for me, do a check to make sure that all of the software within the Adobe Creative Cloud is updated, especially Photoshop and Illustrator. Okay, so if you have not opened up the Creative Cloud by searching it, you need to go ahead and pause this video and do that. You will look here to see if it says up to date. If it says update available, go ahead and update it. You can click there. Some of them are not compatible. If they aren't, don't worry about it yet. Leave it be. Everything else should be good. Another good idea to stay on top of is making sure your computer is updating. It's supposed to automatically update. So if we type updates in, check for updates, it will open up this here. It says you're up to date. Last check today at this time. I can hit check for updates and it will load and let me know if I have any updates there. This helps prevent your computer from crashing, allows your programs to run a little bit smoother, just makes life easier if you keep things updated regularly. I've had it in the past where someone's working a whole hour on Illustrator during studio day and then it crashes. Okay, so make sure things are up to date while you're on here, especially the software. Check weekly, bi-weekly to make sure that they are in fact updated. Okay, this guy says it's up to date. I can also hit here for any online updates and it does the same thing. If anything pops up, just update it, okay? And we'll see if anything pops up there. Okay, keep moving on here. All right, usually when I am here, we do this. I'm still going to have you do this because it is important. On the Adobe Creative Cloud, what I need you to do, you've probably already done it actually, is try to log in. I forgot that you probably haven't been able to get on. When that screen pops up before you get on here, you log in with your student username, the same way you log on to the desktop. If it does not let you log on, so there will be a little window here while you're logging on, make sure one, that you are correctly typing in that login. It will pop up sometimes with a red banner up at the top that says you need to contact your IT administrator or something of that nature. If you have trouble logging on, or if you get that red notification up at the top, please, please, please send me a Schoology message, all right? What I need from you is to message me My name is Rachel Jones, and I will pop up here. Just say unable to log on to Adobe. Whoops. Boom. What I need from you is your full name, first and last, and then I need your school email. My email is different than your email, so double check that you are typing the right thing in. Yours is, I think, at Avon. Students. I don't know. Dash schools, maybe. Double check. I don't know it off the top of my head. And then just send me an email just like this, okay? A Schoology message. That way I can let the tech team know that you cannot log on. That way you don't fall behind in here. They just need to give you permission, okay? All right. If you were able to log on, super. If not, keep watching because this is important anyways. Exporting and saving are vocab words. They're similar but different, all right? Whew. Saving is when you are working on something and you are not done working on it yet, okay? So if we are working on Photoshop, and you know that you are going to work the next couple days, or maybe you're going to work the next week, you're not close to being done, or maybe you just started, that is when you need to hit save, okay? Saving is for when you are wanting to keep that file in the format it is. So you're keeping it as a Photoshop file so that way you can continue working on it as a Photoshop file. Exporting is when you are finally done with your project. When you export, you are going to be changing the file type. If we are working in Photoshop, you change that file from PSD to a JPEG. That way it is a photo file for when you print. So saving is keeping that file in its current format. Exporting is changing that to a new format. Saving is keeping it in the format. Exporting, changing it usually to a JPEG. If you want to pause and write these down. Double check that you know where these are, okay? So if you are able to log in here, we're going to hit open on Photoshop. Give it a chance to load. Remember, things are slow in here. Be patient. Please don't bang on the keyboard ever. Don't spam click if something's not loading. You are just going to make it worse if you click. All right. If you are in Photoshop and it's opened you up to some sort of demo, trying to show you how to use AI. Let me open up something. To get out of that, nope, not what I need. I'm gonna open up a picture. To get out of that demo, if you're here and it's like a house in a gloomy setting, just click X on this and then hit no that you don't want to save it, okay? You just need to be on this homepage for today. Export and save are always up here under file. So you'll click on file, go ahead and do that. And then you'll come down, you can see save and export. Save and save as are different and you're going to use both of them. Save as is for the very first time you are saving something. You are telling Photoshop or Illustrator, I want to save as still a Photoshop file, name it, and you are telling the computer where you want to save it to in your OneDrive, in your digital design folder. You only need to do that the first time. When you continue working in here on something, you can just hit save after you've saved it once. When you're done and you're ready to export it to make it a JPEG, you will hit export and then export as, similar to save as, right? You're telling the computer where you want to export it to, what file format we are changing it to, and that's it, okay? So make sure you know where these are at, underneath file, in Photoshop, and in Illustrator. You will see on the corner of your desk, taped down, is this. This tells you exactly what saving and exporting are. That way you never forget, because we do it so often here. So saving is when your work is in progress and you want to keep it as an Illustrator or a Photoshop file. And I have a cute little picture here to kind of remind you. Exporting is when you are finally finished and ready to either submit or print your project, and we're going to change it to a JPEG. Please take care of these cutouts on your desk. Some of them are really beat up. Okay. Printing is also super important in this course. I have 2 printers up in the front. I'm currently working on making my crappy poster, but you should see a big Photo Fancy poster over there. These are the 2 printers that you will be using. Yes, you will be using both of them. Photo Fancy, I try to make the names easy to remember, and Color Crappy. Why are they named this? Photo Fancy, I'm trying to tell you that it's fancy. We're using fancy paper. It's for projects, right? Color Crappy, the printer's not crappy. I'm just trying to tell you that it's not for our fancy project paper. It's that low quality, normal printer paper. This will be for assignments, anything that's not a project. So projects for Photo Fancy, anything else for the Color Crappy. This is super important when we are getting ready to print, that you are checking to make sure you are sending to the right printer. We don't want to waste photo paper or ink, okay? I don't keep the photo printer loaded with paper, but I cannot cancel your print jobs, okay? It's very hard for me to do that. I have to go over the printer and manually do it, load paper. It takes forever. So please, please, please double check throughout the semester that you are in fact sending it to the right location. This is very difficult because the printers are named very similarly, right? It's both high school, B103, it ends with Q1. The difference is the word here. Photo, which is why I call this one Photo Fancy, and color, which is why I call this one Color Crappy. And even these words look very similar, right? O, letter O, O, letter O. If we cannot keep them separate, I will not allow us to print, okay? We do not want to be wasting high quality paper and expensive ink, expensive materials. Printing is one of our vocab words, just the act of producing a letter, picture, pattern, something by pressing a surface with covered ink, okay? Usually I would kind of show you the printers up in the front of the room. They're in the front left-hand side. Color Crappy is that smaller printer all the way up in the corner, kind of looks like this. It's smaller, and again, it's for assignments or practice work, not our projects. This can only print on 8.5 by 11 paper, and it's that really crappy, just regular printer paper. The bigger printer over there, kind of looks like this, is our photo printer, the Photo Fancy. It's for larger prints. We can print 8.5 by 11, it's supposed to say 8.5, 13 by 19, or 17 by 22. It is for projects, nothing else. Projects. Don't print a Word document there. Don't print a photo of your boyfriend, girlfriend, cat, whatever, okay? Only for projects in this class. I'm gonna play this quick video about the difference between CMYK and then RGB, and then I'm gonna touch more on it. She does a really good job though.
Ever printed something or ordered a sample and it just was not what you were expecting? Maybe you've been asking yourself, should I use RGB or CMYK? Welcome entrepreneurs, designers, and gurus. It's Leah here welcoming you to POD Labs, where we tackle all the technical and sciencey stuff when it comes to your print-on-demand shop. Today's topic, RGB versus CMYK. So which should you be using? Well, the answer is both. RGB is a pixel format used for all digital data. Everything downloaded or uploaded on the internet is digital data, like uploading a design file to our mockup generator and it being sent to the print provider. CMYK mode should be used to preview what the end result might actually look like printed onto a real product. If you're already quite familiar with design software, in short, to get the most accurate color representation from screen to print, you should design in RGB format with sRGB color profile, preview the design in
Ignore those settings. We use different settings.
CMYK, and then upload the final design to PrintFi's mockup generator in RGB format. Color modes, also called color space or color format, depending on which design software you are using, are RGB and CMYK, for example. But there are others like RGB 16, gray, and lab, but those are pretty advanced, so we don't need to worry about that. If you're ever selecting colors in software, you might also notice another option, color profiles. Color profiles give more specific information about the selected color mode and show different intensities depending on the type of screen you have. These are the same no matter what design software you're using. For simplicity and consistency, we recommend the sRGB or standard RGB color profile, as this is appropriate for most basic screens. Next, some of you might be asking, why did my printed product come out differently than what I designed in the first place? To answer this question, we need to get sciencey first with some physics. When it comes to color, and especially print colors, humans, computers, and printers view things differently. As we can see, CMYK and RGB have different color spectrums, meaning that each can achieve colors that aren't possible with the other. If these three perspectives don't line up correctly, an end product's print colors will look different from that same item on a computer screen. With CMYK, essentially we're removing color or the amount of light that's reflected, and with RGB, we're adding color. This is why with CMYK, we start with white, just like blank products. And with RGB, we start with black. When it comes to physics, though, both white and black are not considered to be legitimate colors. White is the presence of all visible wavelengths, while black is the complete absence of those wavelengths. The light source within a digital device creates any color by mixing different amounts of red, green, and blue. All colors start as black, and then RGB lights are added on top of each other to make it brighter and create the desired color. If we add red, green, and blue at equal amounts, we'll get any color from black to white with maximum brightness of each giving us white. So the colors we see in the additive model is the result of transmitted light. To best represent colors on a screen, practically every computer and mobile device on the planet uses RGB. It can be coded so that computers understand, but because of technical limitations, the RGB color gamut or the range of colors is smaller than what our eyes can actually see. Printers, which use CMYK, create an image by mixing different amounts of CMYK colors with ink instead of light, like in the RGB color model. Unlike RGB, which starts as black, CMY starts as white, and each layer of ink decreases the amount of white to create the desired color. This is why we call it a subtractive color model. Essentially, we're removing the amount of light that can be reflected to get the perceived colors. When all the colors are equally mixed together, we get black. But you'll notice that equal amounts of cyan and magenta and yellow end up being more of a dark gray or off black. This is why we have key or black in this color model. This is what gives us a more pure black. Let's talk POD and color modes now. We see our designs in RGB as we're creating them on a screen. Viewing your design in the CMYK color mode will simply guarantee a more accurate representation from what you see on your computer versus the final printed product. Blank white products like t-shirts and mugs, for example, don't give off light like a screen would, but instead throw back or reflect light, which is why it's not possible for printers to use the RGB color system, and also why CMYK has a different color range than RGB. While we still can't print super bright colors or neons, giving printers a bigger range of color data to work with will lead to better results. The majority of printers are 4-color printers, C, M, Y, and K. So when RGB files are converted to CMYK, there are generally shifts in color. Usually these are pretty minor, but if your design is color sensitive or has vibrant colors, it can be much more noticeable. Similarly, if you were to upload a CMYK image to the internet, You might also see a shift in color as it would be converted to RGB format. If a printing company says they print using RGB, what they actually mean is that they accept RGB files, but each printer uses their own special RIP software or raster image process, which simply converts a file with an RGB color profile to a CMYK color profile. So, before printing, every image goes through this process. Essentially, it tells the printer what to do with an image. Let's look at an example of how your computer will show colors versus how it'll look printed on a t-shirt. Here you see a color chart on your screen. Super bright and vibrant, right? Now on the t-shirt, we can see that a lot of the colors are very close to what's seen on screen, but some of the brighter colors look a bit duller than what we see on the screen. RGB has a lot more shades available than CMYK, and also a backlit screen will create a much more brilliant color than any ink printed on a t-shirt or other material can match. Remember our physics lesson? It's simply not possible to recreate the bright and vibrant colors you see on your screen to physical products. But there are ways to create the illusion of more vibrant hues by using either complementary or high contrast colors. Let's take a look at another example. Here we have complementary colors, or colors that are opposite on the color wheel, like red and green, purple and yellow. Of course, it still may not look as vibrant as we see on the screen here, but we've created enough contrast to make the colors stand out even more. There's a lot to think about with colors, and this is why we really encourage.
She does a good job at explaining some of the important differences there. To highlight CMYK, the letters stand for cyan, magenta, yellow, and key. Key is just black. It is the color model for printed materials, okay? All of your prints are using these colors. It's called subtractive mixing. So a good way to think about it is we use a white piece of paper. We begin with white, and then they add these colors on top of that white piece of paper to get the final print, okay? It is decreasing the brightness, which is why key or black is in the middle. So CMYK for all things printed, and we are building up off of white paper, subtractive. RGB is for red, green, and blue. You can see it over here. This is for anything digital. So your screen on your phone, the desktop screen, that is all RGB. This is the exact opposite. It's additive color. A good way to think about it is the desktop monitor is a black screen usually, right? When it's off. And so it starts as black, and then we are adding these colors on top of it to make it lighter, okay? This one's decreasing the brightness. This one is increasing the brightness. You can see as we overlap them, these colors become a little bit more brighter. Again, RGB for all things digital, CMYK for prints. With that, which one should we use since we will work on a screen and print? I had everybody come up to the board and draw a smiley face on which one they thought it was, okay? Take a moment, think about what you just learned in the video there and what I had just reiterated. What one do you think we will end up using? CMYK or RGB? Okay. We will actually use both, okay? We are working digitally, so we need to use RGB. And we're printing, so we will also need to use CMYK. When we start on the desktops in whatever program or software we're using, it will be in RGB. When you are done, you export it. We will then convert them over to CMYK. That way it gives you an idea of what it will look like before printing. Unfortunately, with this, just like she mentioned in the video, when we print, it will never be as bright or vibrant as it looks on your desktop, okay? These are two different color types, right? There's no way to make it a perfect match. We do our best in here to color match, but what you see on your screen will never fully reflect what the print looks like. We get it as close as we can, and that is all we can do, okay? It'll be a little bit frustrating, just know in your hearts that it will never look exactly what it looks like on your desktop versus your print. That is also why I have you submit both to the desktop and I have you print it, that way I can see the difference there. Also a heads up, I will tell you this a million times, every project this semester will be printed from Photoshop. Nowhere else, just Photoshop. Even when we start working in Illustrator, you have to export out of Illustrator and move it into Photoshop. Small assignments, we don't print out of Photoshop, only the projects. Don't log off yet, okay? The only other thing I need from you today is to take that little quiz. So if you're on our Schoology page and you scroll down to our unit folder, Digital Design Basics, you will click on this link. It says Digital Design Basics Quiz. It's going to open up a Kahoot quiz for you. Please be quiet while everyone is taking it. And when you are done, you may log off. It is only 15 questions. Yes, it is for a grade. Do your best on it. We talked about everything in here. Okay. Good luck on your quiz. I will get those scores put in for you. Please do not forget that syllabus quiz is due tonight, and then also that quiz you're getting ready to take. See you all on Tuesday.